All right, good evening. Let's get started. My name is Tyler Ballhorn. I'm the founder of Stockscores, and I'm going to give you a tour of the website tonight, show you some things that I use and how I use them, show you some things that you may not be aware of. Even a seasoned user of Stockscores might get something out of this just by some little things that you didn't know about. So I'm hoping that everyone will get some value out of this. I am recording tonight's presentation and will email a link to the recording because there's going to be quite a bit of information that I'll go through fairly quickly, and it will be nice to be able to go back and say, oh, how did he do that? Well, then you can see it in the video. All right, so where are we going to start? To begin, and everyone should see the Stockscores website on their screen. This is what you see when you go to stockscores.com, the home page here. If you're not a subscriber to my weekly newsletter, you can do so right there. It's free. Every weekend I send out a little commentary on trading, usually a couple stock picks, a link to my market minutes video. You can also watch the market minutes video from this homepage right here. That's usually up sometime over the weekend. I try to do it Fridays, but sometimes I don't get it done until Sunday. But it's always up typically by Monday of the following week. There's also a little bit of information on our education and the philosophy of the Stockscores approach. You can watch a video here called The Secret Signal for Hot Stocks, really the basis for many of my strategies. You can also just learn a little bit more about the investor and active trader programs. In the middle here, we've got, or at the bottom rather, we've got just a short list of some of the big movers, abnormal movers to the upside, the downside for US and Canada, the most actives, and the leading sectors, the weakest sectors. And if you want to click on any of those, you can just click on the symbol and it will show you the chart. So there you see the US biotechnology sector is breaking to new highs, has very good stock scores, and it is at the top of the heap for the US. In Canada, TXMC, oh, that doesn't look right. Let's try this again. I think maybe we've got some bad data there for one of those sectors. But anyway, here's the consumer staples, one of the better rated sectors in Canada. We're going to look at the sentiment, or pardon me, the stock scores sectors later on as well. All right, so that is the home page. Now here you have the toolbar, which is how you get into all the functional areas of stock scores. A lot of the things won't work unless you're logged in. Some of the tools won't work unless you are logged in and a subscriber. So for example, if you wanted to use the market scan tool, well, that's something you have to be a subscriber to. But things like the symbol search will work whether you're a subscriber or not, and you don't have to be logged in to use it. Something like the watch list creator is a free tool. You don't have to be a subscriber. You just have to be a member because you have to log in so that we can remember your watch list that you create. I'm going to show you this later. Same with the portfolio creator. So in terms of free tools and paid tools, I'll just give you the rundown here. The symbol search is free. The gallery chart viewer, slideshow chart viewer, they're free. Portfolio creator is free. Watch list creator is free. Risk calculator, you have to be an advanced or pro member. Market scan, you have to be an advanced or pro member, and there's different versions of the market scan depending on what member you are. And sector watch requires advanced or pro membership. All right, you can learn about those memberships under products. Go to products, site membership. You can learn about our educational products under the educational products page here. That's a whole bunch of information there on that. If you want to learn about site membership, here's the breakdown. This is a little bit old because we still have advanced and pro. I'm going to be changing this to basic, investor, and active trader. But for now, you know, basically it works the same way. There's going to be a few little changes coming on that. Newsletters, if you want to subscribe to the weekend newsletter, you can do so there. You can also read all the past weekend newsletters. So there's the current newsletter that I did this weekend. If you want to go back 6 years, you can read all of the old newsletters, and they're all there on that page. If you want to subscribe to my daily newsletter, it's actually done through a different website. It's done through tradescores.com. Each day I write a commentary on the market. I try to teach something when the market's slow. When the market's busy, then I focus more on stock picks. I pick stocks. You can get an email alert to your cell phone when I pick a stock, and you can subscribe to that by going to tradescores.com, or you can just click on this link here and it will take you to the page where you can register for that newsletter. We have a 2-week trial that you can use to try that out. I just want to see if there's anything else here. If you ever have a issue with where you want to contact us or technical support, There's forms underneath the About Us area. So if you're having a problem with the website, use the technical assistance request. There's a lot of common problems that people ask me about over and over again, so you can just read about those there. Now, once you are logged in, you log in by going to the upper right-hand corner and entering in your username and password. And once you're logged in, you really get a lot more out of the website. We can go into the My Stockscores page, which is what comes up when you have logged into the site. And you can see what access you have to different educational products. If you're a subscriber to the newsletter, you can see actually on this page you can only see those that are 2 weeks old. So whether you're a subscriber or not, you can read old TradeScores newsletters that are 2 weeks or older. If you want to see the current ones and you are a subscriber to that product, you can view those at tradescores.com. You have access to all your tools directly from here. You can also manage your account if you need to change your email address or update your credit card. You can do that all here in the bottom right-hand corner under Manage Account. All right, so what I want to do now is kind of giving you an overview of the basic stuff. I mean, we see in the toolbar, there's lots of tools. We're going to go through those tonight. Under education and getting started, there's some more things there. I would just play around with getting started. I'm going to show you some of this stuff as I go through tonight. What I want to just remind you is one of the reasons you log in, even if you're not a paying user and you don't have access to any of the paid tools, the reason you log in is because what that does is it sort of writes a little cookie that will make our website remember you, so that if you set up your portfolio, obviously when you come back, we need to know who you are, and we only know who you are if you've logged in. So that's why you'd want to set up a free membership on Stockscores. We don't inundate our subscribers with a bunch of junk email. You don't get a lot from us at all. You can choose to get the weekly newsletter. It's free if you want, but if you don't want that, you can turn that off. And if I'm doing a tour or an event at a certain time, I might send you an email. But other than that, by registering for Stockscores, you're not going to get a ton of annoying emails from us like some websites will do. All right, let's go into charting. So one of the important things on Stockscores is the ability to look at charts. And you can do that in the upper right-hand corner here where it says get the Stockscores. I can punch in a symbol like MSFT, which is Microsoft, and see the chart of Microsoft. Okay, now if I wanted to punch in a Canadian symbol, I would have to put a prefix in front of it. So if I'm looking at Suncor, which is traded on the Toronto Stock Exchange, I would put a T dot and then the symbol for Suncor, which is SU, click on enter, and now I've got access to the Suncor chart right there. All right, for the TSX Venture Market, you have to put a V dot and then the symbol, and doing that will then bring up the chart of a stock listed on the TSX Venture. All right, so that's how we use the charts. Now, once you are in the charts, you can actually make a lot of changes to them. You can view things. There's different ways to view the charts. I'm going to show you some of those tricks and tips right now. So when you call up any chart, let's pull back up to Microsoft here. Below the chart, I have the trading tab. Now, if I'm in the small chart view, if I click on this switch to small chart, you will see that these tabs appear to the right of the chart. I like to look at charts in the big view, so I always view them in the switch to large, which is this link right here. And when I'm in that, I can see on this tab, the trading tab, the current information for the stock. So it closed today at 45.91. It traded 85,264 times. 28 million shares were traded today. It has a yield of 2.7% historically. And some of the other stuff there, real quick and dirty statistics. If I want to see more statistics, I can click on price relativity. I can see a lot more information relative to price. Volume momentum, if I want to know if the MACD is positive, well, there I can look at MACD. It's actually bearish right now. RSI is bearish. So these are different technical indicators that people like to use. Same moving averages and volatility. I can see that the 45 day trend in moving average is bullish and bullish on the 100-day, but short-term bearish. So there's a lot of quick information there. You can also look at the sector of the stock. So if you click on sector, and this doesn't exist for every stock, but for those that are more widely held and widely known, we are able to get the sector information from our data provider. So this is the sector for Microsoft. It's the US Software Index, and you can sort of compare the chart of the stock itself relative to the sector, and I would say that the sector is doing better than the stock. The sector is, closer to new highs, while the Microsoft stock is a little bit below the highs. So different things that you can glean from that. You can also see the sentiment and signal stock score for the software sector and then compare it to the stock. So this one has a sentiment of 53 on Microsoft, but the actual sector has a 66. So there again, you can see that the sentiment stock score shows us that the sector is outperforming the actual stock. All right, so that's some of the information that you can get. Now, the most important tab is the chart tab. This is where we can control our default chart setting. You'll see here we have a quick chart and interactive. I strongly recommend you keep this on quick. The interactive charts are Java-based. They don't work all that great. I'm trying to find a replacement for them, but I haven't done so yet. And I exclusively use the quick chart myself. Now, the nice thing about quick charts is they load quickly, hence the name. And they're bright and colorful and big, and they're just easy to read, and that's why I like them. So I always keep that on quick. You can then add indicators. So if you wanted to add an indicator to your chart, like the MACD, and maybe you want to add in the, the RSI, click on that, then click Create Chart, and that will put those indicators on your chart as well. All right, now you can see I've got the stock score indicator, the RSI, and the MACD all on my chart here, and that shows for any chart that I pull up. Once I've set it, it becomes my default. So if I pull up Intel now, it will have those indicators on there as well. I can go back to the chart tab, I can turn those off, and they will then be turned off for every chart afterward. So basically what you're doing at this point is you're setting your default chart view. Now I like my default view to be an 8-month daily chart. You can see here I've got a look back period of 8 months. My interval is daily. I've got really no indicators turned on except for the stock score and the volume. You can add more if you want, and how you set up the chart is really very personal. But once you do it here once, it will show that way for every chart you look at afterward. So it's a nice way to be able to look at charts that fit the criteria of what you're looking for. Okay, so that is the chart tab. Now I'm going through this pretty quickly. There are some videos that I'll show you in a moment that go into this stuff a lot more detail. You can actually watch quite a long video on how to use the charting program. I'm trying to give a broad overview tonight, and that's the basics of how to use the chart. Now the most important tool on Stockscores is the market scan. It is what really helps us make money. It's how we can scan through the market for a variety of filters combined and really get a sense of what stocks meet the criteria of what we're looking for. So you can see here all the filters that you have. You can choose stocks on different markets. All the North American markets we cover are here. We have market cap. You can do a scan just on a watch list that you've created. I'll show you how to create a watch list in a moment. You can only look for stocks that pay dividends with a yield between 2 and 5% if you want. Whatever you want there is available. You can also do scans based on the stock score. Here's all of our price filters, our volume filters, and our momentum study calculations. All of these things are explained in the Getting Started area user guide. If you go to user guide, you'll see under user guide there's a market scan area that explains what these filters do. There's also a video in the education area that explains how to use the market scan. And again, I'm trying to give you a quick overview tonight. If you want to dive into more detail, there is a free video in the education area under Getting Started called the Stockscores Market Scanner right there. Okay, you want to learn how to do charting? There's charting basics and charting on Stockscores. So it's all described there for you. Now, one of the things with this market scan is you can save your scans. So I could do a scan tonight for stocks making an abnormal gain with abnormal volume and breaking through 80-day resistance and trading at least 500 times. I've just created a scan. Now, if I just click on Market Scan Report, it will scan for those criteria right now, but it won't remember that scan to use in the future. I'd have to re-enter it again in the future. If you wanted it to remember, you can just put a name on it. So we can call this the June, I don't know what the date is today, the 22nd, 23rd? I don't even know. The June 23rd scan. Click to save name or check to save the scan, run the report, and there are the stocks that meet the criteria of that scan. But notice also now when I go back to the market scan and I go to my scans, you can see there I should have one called June 23rd scan right there. I bring that up and it shows what I have activated for my scans. Now once I run the scan, I can view those stocks in one of my viewers. I have the choice between a gallery viewer or a slideshow viewer. If I select gallery, it will look at these charts 10 per page. And you can see that as I go through these charts, these stocks look like they made a big price jump today because that's what I was having the program look for. So here's HCKT. This is a stock that I featured in my daily newsletter back here. It's doing quite well, had a big day today. And I found it with this scan because this scan was looking for stocks that made an abnormal price gain with abnormal volume, which is what HCKT did today. And that's essentially how I use this tool. Now, again, there's much more detail in the education area on how to use the tool. I just wanted to give you the broad overview. You can also look at stocks one by one instead of looking at them in this gallery chart viewer. You can look at them in the slideshow chart viewer. If I click on slideshow here, I can now look at these charts one per page. So I can click on next to look at the next one. I can just keep cycling through the charts, looking for the stocks that meet my criteria from a visual standpoint. And when I see one, well, then I'll decide whether I want to buy it or not. Okay, so this is something that I do a few times every day as I run market scans. I'm out there looking for stocks that are showing signs that they want to go higher. And it's simply a matter of taking a strategy and applying it with the Stockscores market scan. Now that leads me to this upper window right here in the upper right where we have preset scans. These presets are scans that I have created for you, basic, advanced, and pro. And what you have access to really depends upon what membership level you are at. So if you have an advanced membership, you can run the Abnormal Breaks Canada scan, run that there, and there are 3 stocks that meet the criteria of that scan today. If you are a pro member, well, then there's a different set of scans to use. If you're a free member, then you have a very limited access to the scanner. You won't have access to a lot of the filters, just some of them, but it's a good way to play with it and get a sense of how it actually works. All right, $29 a month gets you advanced, $300 a year for pro. However, you can only be a pro subscriber if you have taken one of my stock trading courses. So there's a, that's the bonus. I don't want everyone to have access to the best of the tool. You have to have taken one of my educational programs to have access to that. All right, let's go into the Sector Watch tool now. The Sector Watch allows me to see what sectors of the market are performing the best, what are weakest, and essentially we've got a hierarchy view here showing the sentiment score for that sector. So I can see that the automobile manufacturers sector has got a 75 rating. That's a strong sector. I can click on automobile manufacturers and see the companies that make up that group. And then if I wanted to, I could actually click on the symbol and see the chart. So there's the chart of Honda Motor Company. Now I can also, when I'm wanting to look at sectors, go into the one of the viewers, the gallery viewer or the slideshow viewer. So I can go to slideshow chart viewer and I can view a sector from here. So I can go into the sectors and select, where's the automobiles? Right there, automobile manufacturers. And I can now cycle through these charts one at a time, looking at stocks that maybe have good patterns and that sort of thing. These are all automobile companies. There's Nissan, GMAC. We got to fix some of those. Every once in a while, I got to go in and clean up these symbols. I haven't done it for a while, so there's a few bad ones in there, but I'll go in and clean those up one of these days. There's General Motors, that sort of thing. So you can do all that from the viewer as well. So the Sector Watch covers both Canadian and US markets. You can see, the green sectors in Canada, consumer staples, utilities, the mega cap index, so the large cap stocks in Canada. What's lagging? Dividend stocks and the TSX 60 overall, because the Canadian market hasn't been doing all that great lately. The rise in the US dollar has hurt. The drop in oil prices has really hurt the market, and that's making people question the banking sector and lots of problems in Canada right now. So this is a way to get a sense of, is the market even good or not? A lot of blue neutral sectors in here. But again, if I want to, I can click on the gold index and I can see all the companies in the gold sector right there. All right, so let's now go on to the watch list portfolio creator. We'll do the watch list creator first. The watch list creator is a way to build a list of stocks that you want to look at repeatedly, or perhaps you want to scan on that group. So for example, if you have, let's say, 50 stocks that you like to follow, you could build an build a watch list of those 50 stocks, and then you can actually do market scans on that group to see which ones are up 2% or more today, or which ones are at new 52-week highs or something like that. Now, how you create a watch list is very simple. Click on Create, give it a name. So we'll call this June 23rd watch list. And I can just type in some symbols now. So every symbol goes on a different line. I can punch in Canadian symbols. I can punch in US symbols. I can punch in symbols from NASDAQ, symbols from New York, whatever. Put them all there, click on Next. Now at this point, you have the ability to add what we call thresholds so that visually you can see if a stock is moving up through a certain price level. You don't have to do that. This is an optional step. I don't usually do anything at this point, but you can. Then you click on Submit. And now that group has been created. There you can see June 23rd watch list. If I click on this now, you will be able to see what the stock scores are for that watch list, both signal and sentiment, and what the last price is and where they are relative to their threshold. But now that I've done that, I can go into my viewers. Let's say I go to the slideshow chart viewer, go to view my watch list, and I can see the June 23rd watch list there. So I can view that and take a look at that chart. So it's a quick way to be able to check a group of stocks that you follow. Now, the difference between the watch list creator and the portfolio creator is that with the portfolio creator, we actually enter in the entry price of the stock and that sort of thing. Does everyone hear me okay? My headphones are making a little bit of a funny noise in them. I just want to make sure we're not having any problems here. Seems like everything's working okay, so I think I'll just continue along. I don't know why I'm hearing this funny noise in my ears, but anyway. Okay, good. Thanks for the feedback, everyone. So the portfolio creator is very similar to the watch list creator. The difference is that you can actually add in the prices. So we can call this June 23rd test. And we can put in, so we bought Microsoft, we bought 1,000 shares, and we paid $35 for it. We paid $10 in commission, and we could put in the date purchased. We can put all kinds of information in here, or lots of different stocks in here, and really collect that information for ourselves. So let me punch in here Lake. What did Lake close at today? 1190. So what did I feature? 1104. Whoops, number of shares. Let's put in 1,000 shares at 11.04, commission of $10. And I bought those, when did I buy those? 14 days ago. That's 14 trading days ago. So let's call it the 8th of June. And we'll put one more in. We'll put in HCKT, call it 2,000 shares. Bought it at, where's the entry price here? $9.90. And again, $10 in commission. Bought those a while ago, 47 days ago. So let's call this April 24th, 2015. I don't know if those are the right dates, but so let's now save those changes. And now, again, when we go to, well, first of all, we can look at my portfolios. We can pull up the June 23rd test, and I can see what the stocks I own are and what they did today in terms of price and that sort of thing. I can also go to the portfolio view and see what those positions are up or down. So my HCKT trade is up $6,690, up 34%. The Microsoft one, that's not a trade I really did. I have no idea what the price was, so I kind of inflated it there for us. But you kind of get a sense of where your portfolio is. It splits it up in US and Canadian stocks. And you can just monitor things very easily from this page, either in the portfolio view or the quote view. Quote view just tells you the current price and how it's changing today. portfolio shows you how much you're up or down on that position. All right, so that's the portfolio creator. Now, people always ask me, what do the stock scores mean? If I pull up Microsoft, you can see that I've got a signal score of 39, a sentiment of 53. We use the stock scores for position trading. We don't use them for day trading or for swing trading, generally. They're really meant for position trading, longer term trading. And as a general rule, we want the sentiment stock score to be above 60, 60 or higher, and the signal stock score to spike up above 80, although it doesn't need to stay above 80. And when that happens, it's a sign that a stock has got good momentum, that there's optimism in that chart. So you don't really have to, know how it's calculated. Just know that above 60 is good and below 60 is not good. You can see here RDN, which has been in an upward trend for some time, has generally been above 60 since April, right? And when it was doing poorly here, where it was kind of going down or sideways, the sentiment stock score, which is the green line, dropped below 60. So it's a good indication of whether you should consider a stock or not. If I pulled up Suncor, I will see that the sentiment stock score is 27. That to me is a stock to avoid. It hasn't been above 60 for at least 8 months. See how it's been kind of floundering along? Whereas a stock that's strong, like, we'll use HCKT again. HCKT has got very strong scores, and you can see that it's had strong scores since April again. And April is when we were building rising bottoms. We broke out through resistance, and we went on a pretty good run here, about a 30% move from that breakout. And it all started right there in April, and that's when the stock scores were above 60, above 80, and had a good chart pattern. And those are some of the things that we look for. So if you want to learn more about the stock scores, go to the education area and go to the stock scores indicator video. Click on the little video icon there, and you can watch how the indicators are calculated and how to use them. So it's all there for free in the Stockscores Education Center. So now let's do a little discussion of the Education Center. This is something that was built last year, and it has 3 functional areas. The foundation, well, actually it's 4. Getting started is free. Okay, anyone has access to that. Foundation, you have to pay for. It's $995 to have access to the foundation bundle. There you get access to all these videos. So if you want to learn how to read chart patterns, there's a video for that. If you want to learn what the expected value of the trade concept is, you can read a document. Okay, you can watch a video. So I can click on the video icon there, and there's a video that would play if I hit the play button. You can do an assignment. Make sure you understand the concept. There's an assignment tab. You can see there a bunch of questions to help you determine whether you know what you're doing. And then there's also a test. So if you want to take a little multiple choice test, you can do that right there and make sure you understand the concepts. Once you've done the foundation, you're ready to start learning my strategies. So I have split my strategies up into 2 groups. We have day trading, swing trading strategies. That's in the active trader area. Okay, right here. So there's my strategies for day trading and swing trading. And then we have investor strategies right here, which are for position trading. So if you have 15 minutes a day or 15 minutes on the weekend to do your research, you want to focus in on the investor area. If you want to be a lot more active, spend your time during the day doing this, then you'd go into the active trader area. And it's all taught there. Again, there's a written lesson and a video. We don't have assignments and tests for the strategies because basically your assignment is to build your trading plan and apply the strategy and pick stocks. And when you take one of my courses, I of course hold your hand through this process, try to help you learn my strategies, but you have to really work through it one step at a time. You start at the top, you work your way down, learning those lessons, and then you can start focusing in on strategies. I recommend people not focus on more than 2 strategies at once, just because it gets a bit overwhelming. The strategies are all very similar. They're similar concepts, but you're best just to pick 1 or 2 strategies that are your focus and then work on those. All right. So I think that was all I wanted to cover. We've gone through a lot. Maybe for fun, we'll just do one market scan together. Let's go and do a market scan. And if you have some questions, you can maybe start to type them in now. Keep the questions specific to tonight's topic, which was how to use the Stockscores website. So if you have some questions about that, please go ahead and ask them now, and I'll try to answer them for you. Let's run the Stockscores Simple Canada scan. to see if there's any good looking, this is a position trading scan. So I'm going to cycle through these charts looking for stocks that have good patterns. These stocks all come up because they have good pattern or good charts, but maybe it's too late. Maybe it's not quite an ideal pattern. We only know that by inspecting the charts manually. So I cycle through my charts looking for stocks that have good patterns, and so far I haven't seen anything that I really like in Canada tonight. Let's try the same scan for the US now. So we'll do, again, the Stockscores Simple, but we're going to do the US this time. Stockscores Simple US. This is a scan that I do each day. If you don't have the time to do it every day, then there's a version that you can do on weekends. It's the weekend version called Stockscores Simple Weekly. But if you can check the market once or twice a day, this is a good way to search for stocks that meet the criteria of a strategy. Now, the education area teaches you the rules of the strategy so that you can then apply the tool. So as I cycle through these, I'm keeping in mind what I know to look for. And at this point, I'm looking for very specific things in the chart. Now, if I see one, I'll let you know. So far, I haven't seen anything I really like. Now, when you first start out doing this, you're going to cycle through these charts much more slowly than I am. It takes a little bit of practice to be able to go through charts this quickly. But with time, you'll get a sense of how to do this much more effectively and efficiently. And once you're good at it, you can really study the whole market in 10 minutes, looking for stocks that are giving signals that they are likely to move higher. Okay, so for example, this stock, trading sideways for a long time, above 60, above 80, good price pattern right there at 13.35 or so. That was a good entry point. But today, it's already gone up a lot. I don't want to jump on it anymore. It's a good hold, but not a stock that I would want to buy. And that's really the key, is as we cycle through these, I'm looking for stocks that are worth buying today. Most of the time, you'll find stocks that you missed the boat on already, because they continue to be good. You know, if you imagine every day there's a few good picks, then after a month, you've got a bunch of stocks that are doing well, and they're going to come up in your scans over and over again. But we want to try and find them on the first day that they show some strength. All right, so I'm just about done. I'm not going to go through all these. I was hoping I'd find you something to consider, but I don't see anything I really like today. Market's been pretty good lately. I think it'll get better if we can resolve the issues in Greece, but so far we haven't seen that. So nothing there that I'm really loving, so we'll just leave it at that. So I've got some questions that are coming in there, and first question is, I'm new to trading and investing, and I'm really, oh, sorry, I just got to scroll down here. And I'm really having a hard time coming up with a strategy. What would you recommend? Well, there's two options. One, you can do what I do, which is figure it out. And I've developed my own strategies by doing a lot of research, spending years doing that. The option, if you want to learn my strategies, you can subscribe to them by doing our education. So if you went into, if you want to do investor strategies, you can learn my strategies by purchasing the investor course. And you can do that all online if you go to the homepage on Stockscores. And this will just come up in a moment here. Learn to trade with the Stockscores approach right there. You can click on learn more, and you can learn all about the different educational programs that we have, and pricing and all that is all on that page. So I recommend that you take a look at that. How would you assess the recent price moves of T.BNK? I don't want to look at a lot of stocks tonight, but do take a look at this one just to give you a sense of this. Okay, so like most energy stocks, this one's been beat up pretty bad. It's breaking a downward trend line from a rising bottom with strong volume today. That's good. I'd rate this chart a 6 out of 10. I think it's more likely to go higher than lower. It's going to run into some resistance at 370, 375. So not great upside. Let's take a look at the longer term chart, the 3-year. Yeah, I mean, I think this one is trying to turn around, but I can't tell you that I love it. I mean, I would give it a 6 out of 10. You mentioned MACD and RSI. Are you influenced in any way on the MACD and RSI when you're picking a stock to buy? I personally am not. I don't use them in any of my strategies. Many people do. MACD and RSIs are very popular indicators. It's just not something that I use. I tend to use my own concepts of abnormal activity and price levels and that sort of thing, patterns. So the things that I teach in my course or courses, have nothing to do with MACD and RSI, but I put them on the website because I know a lot of people like them. Next question, I see pivot point and price relativity. How important is the pivot point in determining the direction of the stock and to bid at the pivot point? Again, not something I use. Pivots were originally used in futures trading. There were some people that based entire strategies around price pivots, and it's something I looked at, I don't know, 15, 20 years ago, and I just never found it to be, I didn't find it to be ineffective. I just found things that worked better for me. So I don't use it, but again, it's something that's on the site because people do like to use those things. Should we buy stocks after the big breakout or wait till the next day for a pullback, then buy it? Here's the thing, most stocks that make good breakouts, and by the way, you don't buy any breakout. Lots of, like Facebook today is breaking out. I don't consider this a stock to buy today, maybe on a pullback, but it's not something I would buy now. When you have a good, valid breakout, most of the time, stocks will pull back. I would say 65% of the time, a stock will pull back after it makes a breakout. However, here's the problem. The stocks that don't pull back are the ones that tend to do the best. So if you wait for the pullback, you often miss out on the best performers. So generally speaking, if I find a stock making a good, clean breakout from a nice chart pattern, then I will just buy it. So for example, CDV is a stock that I featured, I can't remember when, I'm going to guess it was here. This one pulled back for 4 or 5 days before it went higher. It gave you a second chance. But I bought it there anyway, thinking, well, if it pulls back, I'm in, and if it doesn't pull back and rockets higher, then at least I'm on board the trade as it develops. So generally speaking, I buy them on the breakout. One option you can do is to buy half a position on the breakout and then wait for a pullback to buy the second half. That way you're into it if it doesn't pull back. And if it does pull back, you can lower your average cost by waiting for the pullback to increase your position. I think that's all my questions. I got one more stock here. This will be the last stock I pull up because I don't want to spend too much time doing that tonight. I wanted to keep tonight's presentation short. It's summer, beautiful outside. I don't know what it's like where you live, but where I'm living here, it's amazing weather these days. So in CNL, I don't love it. I don't like any of the gold stocks really. The gold stocks generally look pretty poor. This one is trying to break from a little rising bottom. It's okay. I prefer this pattern when the stock is in an upward trend. The stock is in a downward trend. I'd give it a 6 out of 10. And so, do I buy 6 out of 10s personally? No, but I do think it has better potential than it had a week ago. So it's getting better and perhaps it will improve from here. Okay, in the previous slides, I do not remember which one. I saw 2 boxes, one for price paid and another for stop loss. How does that work? Okay, well, that was in the charting tab. So if I go to the chart tab, and below here you have risk reward, entry price, and stop loss price. I can enter in a entry price and a stop loss, and it will draw what we call risk reward lines on the chart. So I could say my entry price is 270, my stop is 240, then click on create chart. And you will see now it draws these risk reward lines on the chart. Now the reason we do that is because in Stockscores, many of our strategy exits are based on these lines. If you've taken my course, you'll understand what I mean. If you haven't taken my course, then that's probably Greek to you, but that's how they work anyway. All right, I think that's all. Can you save the lines? You cannot. You can do them at the moment, but if you go back to, like if I switch charts and then come back to this one, it won't have the lines there anymore, unfortunately. It just doesn't remember where you drew the lines for each stock with the way it works now. Okay, I don't see any more questions. I'll hang out here for another minute and then I'm going to wrap it up. If you have any other questions, please bring them up quickly and I'll be happy to answer them. I did record tonight's presentation, so I will email everyone a recording because I went through stuff pretty quick tonight. But with the benefit of a recording, you can go back, slow things down, and make sure you understood what I was talking about. Hopefully it's been a good overview for you of how the Stockscores website works and some of the things you maybe didn't know about. If you have any questions for me, you can email me, tylerb@stockscores.com, tylerb@stockscores.com, and happy to answer that for you. If you have any interest in any of my educational courses, you can do them at any time. It's all online learning. You get my support through the process. You can ask me questions by email and I'll answer them that way for you. And summer's a good time to learn. Markets tend to be slower. You can get yourself ready for when the action picks up in the fall. All right, I'm going to wrap up, everyone. Thank you very much for joining me tonight, and we'll see you at the next webinar. Thanks, everyone. Good night.